What's up guys, for this video I'm going to show you how to find a tiny/invisible Banshee and how to get out of Composer. Now this first segment of the video I'm just going to show you where you can get out of the map. This takes place after you're outside and you're in the Mantis and you're fighting all of the Banshees and the dropships that are coming. So what you're going to do is you need to save a Banshee. So usually they get stuck on the map somewhere and you can go find one and skyjack you later on, but it's probably best to try to do that actively with a noob shot or something, take it out, and then save it for later. So either way, what you do to get out is you fly right through this little corner piece. It's the first cross beam, or whatever you want to call that, from the exit of the map. So the part that's open to space, you go out as far as you can and as high as you can, you turn around, and it's the first one on there. And just, you can go back in the video and check that out, or wait till later on and you'll see that again. And you can get out of the map. If you go too far away you will die, but otherwise you're pretty free to do whatever you want. It looks like you can fly back in, but there's an invisible barrier there. You have to fly out the same way you got in, and that's through that piece right there. And it gives you another perspective so you can see where you're actually going. So we're going to cut back to where I got the Banshee. So I killed everything. I had already noob shot and hijacked a Banshee, and I stashed it over in a safe place so I could kill everything else and then run back to the Banshee. That's the safest way to do it, I think. You can just hope to find one that's stuck somewhere and then hijack it later, but it's kind of glitchy on this map. Sometimes it's pretty tricky to hijack a Banshee once it's been stuck. So get in the Banshee, fly towards the checkpoint, either where it was on the right or over here on the left, and once you see that it pops up the loading dialogue or loading text on the left, you're good to go. You can fly back away and fly towards the opening, and you'll see that sometimes your reticle turns red as if there's an enemy out there. You want to aim for that, actually aim slightly above it, but for the sake of this, I'm going to fly right into it and show you what happens. Now people say there's an invisible Banshee. Technically it's not invisible, and there's actually more than one. You can see it on the radar right there. Sometimes they both show up, sometimes they don't. You can see the little jet streams from both of them splitting there actually. And the dropships will continue to fire at you, so be somewhat mindful of them, but don't worry too much. So what you want to do is fly your Banshee above where the reticle turns red. You want to hop out of your Banshee and then hold the hijack button, whatever that might be for you, to hijack the other Banshees that are over there. And I'll show you that here in just a second. So that's where it's red, they're down there. So you want to be above them and hop out. Now this is kind of hit or miss. Sometimes you land on top and die, sometimes you miss completely, and sometimes you can hijack. But it looks like the Banshee's invisible and Master Chief can just fly around like Superman or Goku or whatever you want to say. He looks like he's flying. You can still function completely like a Banshee. Everything is still there, but it's technically invisible. And Master Chief is just flying around with a jet stream behind him. You can still shoot and everything. And I think if I remember correctly, I'm going to be flying out of the map here in a second. I filmed this forever ago, but I lost it on my computer, so I couldn't get it out to you guys. So I apologize for that. But I think I remember correctly, and I am going to fly out right here. It works just like in the first segment of the video. Just aim for that little triangle area, and you're out of the map. So you can kind of play around with that and have some fun with it. Fly around a little bit so you can see what that's like, and then I'll point out how the Banshee's not technically invisible. It's actually just super tiny, kind of like the Spartan Ops glitch with all the Covenant becoming tiny. That's pretty much what happens here. I will note that this won't work. You cannot get the invisible Banshees until you hit that loading scene. So don't bother even trying, it won't work, they won't be there, and you won't be able to get out as far. So wait for that loading. Again, you have to get out the same way you got in. You can't just fly around. Even though it looks like it, it won't work. So you're just going to waste your time and possibly your health. And as you can see, it's still turned red because there is one more mini/invisible Banshee out there. So I'm back in the map. I fly around a little bit more. And I'm actually going to land the Banshee and show you what I'm talking about. That it's not invisible, it's just tiny. And it does kind of explain why it's so tricky to actually hijack the Banshee when you're out of the map, because even though it's tiny, it doesn't function completely like a full-size Banshee. As you can see right there, it lets me get in for a second. I don't do it, but it doesn't ever give me that option again, so it's really, really finicky. And even though the boundary is there as if it's still there and invisible, it only responds if you shoot or interact with the tiny version. So it's kind of weird the way it's there and it's not there, and it's tiny and it's big. It's kind of just a all over the place type of glitch. But to prove that it is actually tiny and not invisible, you can see the smoke from me crashing it a little bit, and you can actually zoom in and look at it up close and personal. I should be doing that. Here we go. It's super tiny, but it is there. And you can't actually shoot it or anything unless you hit the little one. Even though the boundary is still there, like I said, won't do any good. So I'll show you with the shotgun a little bit, and then the better demonstration is with the sticky launcher. And that should be coming up here in a second. And sometimes it does give you the option to get back in after a while, but it's pretty finicky, so you may not get a chance to get back in. So the shots only count if you hit the mini version. If you just shoot towards it, it's not going to work where it would normally be. It just goes right through. Doesn't do any good, as you can see there. But the mini one is fully interactive, and you can stick it. So go guys, try it out. And as you can see, the Banshee's still there now. Go try it out, see what you can find out, have some fun with it, and let me know what you think about the glitch.